Says we're
I think
live.
we're live.
You are live. It says
We
you
are
are
live.
live.
Okay, guys, today's going to be very interesting. And I'm trying to sit like this. Let me introduce myself as the girl
This is my little chipmunk.
with a ton of stitches in her mouth and a lot of swelling and a lot of cold sores. But I do not cancel. So I have a very special guest.
That's me. I'm the
And,
guest.
and believe it or not, he's going to do most of the talking.
Yeah, right.
Because the more I talk, the bigger it gets. And we have another call after this. But we have been waiting for this week. This is one of our favorite weeks. We used to always do 2 generic events a year, always did a kickoff called the New Year's Retreat, and we always did a summer boot camp.
Yep.
And the summer boot camp always had the same thing. Always, every year, we taught the same thing over and over again because to know and not to do is not to know. And we've been teaching the same thing for 30 years. We still have friends that are broke and stuck. And we're just like, listen, it's not that hard. So that's what we want to share with you guys today. And I'm going to try to calm myself down a little bit as we reintroduce ourselves in this new chapter that we're kicking off that is exploding, and say, just listen to the things that have helped us in 30 years to really experience freedom, because very few people have it, and it's by choice. They're choosing to continue to suffer.
Or they're choosing because they don't know what to do. And
Okay.
I think, I was talking about this on a call I did the other day, thinking about, 20 some years ago when we got, we were
Broke.
cutting out wooden chickens in a back room. You were doing hair
Ducks
and
and
curling
Santas.
perms at the same time, unlocking a tanning salon and a tanning
And I was
booth.
teaching
And
tap.
around the corner, you were teaching 75 girls dance. And then I was hauling oak furniture. And then
And we
Bob
were
Dole
changing
ran
diapers.
Bob Dole ran for president. So we were like, hey, let's make a bunch of t-shirts. And at that point in our life,
Well, why would we make Bob Dole t-shirts? Let's explain that.
well, he's from our hometown.
Yeah,
he,
it was-
he actually went to high school with my grandma Dumler. My grandma Dumler and Bob Dole graduated together. And every time he'd come to town, they'd meet at A&W and hash out old high school stuff. So we had a bit of a relationship like that. But I look back at that and, just that, what you were just saying, we didn't master any basics. We were very unscattered. Or scattered, I should say the word. Unfocused, scattered. I mean, if you took all the light in the room you're sitting in, or the light you see behind us on our ceiling, if you took all that light and put it in one tiny little beam, it could cut through steel. And in our life, we weren't that way. We were very scattered. And I find that with a lot of people, especially people that have that entrepreneurial spirit. It's easy to have squirrel head and want to do this and then jump to this. Oh, but this looks better. And oh, this is better. And oh,
It's a sickness.
I saw a great post on Facebook the other day. It said, I'm not worried. The grass isn't greener on the other side. I don't really worry about that. I just water mine more. And I thought, yeah, that's true, because it's hard for people to focus. And I think the phrase, everything we talked about this morning, Barb, the phrase that stuck with me was mastering the basics. The basics are the basics. And if you master the basics, then anything you do, you're going to be successful at. It's just most people don't master the basics, and they don't know what the basics are. And we were really lucky. We were lucky to have a mentor that didn't just teach us the basics. He scared us into believing.
Well, here's the difference in someone that is just leading you and a really good coach. Someone just leading you, they'll just candy coat it all.
Yeah.
You're great.
That's
You're
me
doing
to you.
good.
That's me to you. Honey,
right.
You look great.
Oh, give me a break. We literally had a mentor. And here's a good thing to ask yourself. To continue to do the same thing and expect a different result is absolute insanity. And I come from a family of workaholics, and they're all incredibly successful. But you got to define what is your success. And my success was not just working hard to cope with all the childhood trauma. It was to actually experience freedom. And Dave and I had a mentor that would literally just pop you upside the head Like,
Yeah.
don't be stupid. Stop doing that. And if we didn't do what he said, he would be like, stay broke. I don't care. And we would be like, that was rude. But we were so fortunate to have someone that told us what we needed to hear,
Yep.
not what we wanted to hear.
Always.
And I have to like stay off Facebook right now and really bite my lip, because there are so many people that I watch that have more potential than most, more talent than anyone I know, a stronger faith than most people I've ever met. And they're literally sabotaging their brand. They're sabotaging their income. They're sabotaging their sanity. And it's because people do what they have to do to survive. And Dave and I were surviving, but we weren't winning, right? So I could do a craft show on the weekend. He would jump on the back of a bull, try to win some day money. We would go do a furniture show. Then we would go sit all day and watch the Chiefs. And then that night we would go to the picnic where everybody bought their 24-pack of Keystone. And then the next day we would wake up and talk about everybody in our small town. And then we didn't have cell phones, thank God, because that way you didn't see it on social media and get a text.
Oh, girl, back then we'd been canceled by now.
We would have been canceled.
That wouldn't have been cool.
Canceled.
That wouldn't have been cool.
Canceled. Ex-con, extraordinaire, mentor, bankrupt. Like, I don't know, guys. I guess our message to you is, and without saying it, I'm going to say it. I didn't even know there was a damn debate this week. Dave and I were in the backyard, literally wondering why Facebook was blowing up, saying, what are we missing?
Right.
And then Dave goes, oh, I think there is a debate. And I go, who's debating? And then he goes, well, duh, I've seen that. And I go, really? And I go, should we watch it? And he goes, I don't think we should watch it. But I had to take some, stuff in my mouth and sit with an ice pack. And I found myself sitting on a couch, and I literally looked at Dave. I was so perplexed that I wrote a Facebook post and then I deleted it 3 times. One question just set me off. And I could have went down a rabbit hole that would have I would have lost half my followers. Nobody would have won the argument. And let me tell you guys something, it would have decreased my income. And at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with my dreams, my goals, my future, my income, my leadership, my company, because we create our own economy. And you might argue with me, but Dave and I have seen 7 elections during our career. We have seen oil at $7 a barrel. We have seen oil at $170 a barrel, and we live in an oil community. We have seen wheat go in the toilet. We have seen wheat and cattle go really sky high, and we live in a farming community. We don't have a college education. We didn't get our student loans paid for. We quit college and still had the debt. And let me tell you guys, no matter what the government does, I'm not waiting. We have created our own economy in the shittiest of circumstances over and over and over again. And what we want to talk to you guys about is, what is freedom to you? Because we're about to celebrate this holiday that's all about independence and all about celebrating freedom. And we used to do a boot camp July 6th every year, summer boot camp, and it was called It's About Freedom, Baby. And very few people get freedom. And I believe it's our choices.
Well, and I think you said the word earlier, it's called survival. And almost everybody's in survival mode. You're surviving. You hope there's a little bit a month at the end of the paycheck. You hope you got a little bit left. It's like this mentality of paying the taxes, having just enough, working 40 or 50, 60 hours a week, finding something extra, this extra thing, begging for higher minimum wage. It's this survival mindset that everybody gets in, and which is not bad. Here's the problem with it though. when we started to learn about setting goals, definiteness of purpose, when we started learning about that our thoughts were really things, that what you think about you do get. And the more you listen and the more you learn that, the more it really sinks in. And then you're terrified of your own thoughts and you're terrified of the words you speak because you know you're bringing that stuff to fruition. But it's about belief. It's about energy. It's about setting goals. And here's a good analogy. And I've talked about this before, but this just hit me this morning, that people, we're human beings, we're energy beings. And when you look out in nature and you take one example, like a group of birds that travel together, when you study a group of starlings, say there's 7,000 starlings in the sky, and you've seen them before, and they move
like a cloud.
They look like a cloud or a wave, and it's called murmuration. And you guys should look this up, because what it is, these birds, scientists still can't explain it. And literally just recently, they figured out that it's an energy wake. The first bird moves, but the rest of the birds feel awake. They feel this energy. It's not that they're watching the other bird, it's a feeling. And you can't explain how 5,000 animals, 5,000 birds can move identically at the same time. Scientists cannot explain it. But what they're figuring out is it's something invisible to us, but it's an energy wake in the sky. And when the one bird is flapping his wings and feels the wake, it's like riding a surfboard. The bird is literally in this wake of energy. And when the one is not, and he's flapping really harder, he gets in the wake from the other bird. And it happens simultaneously. Human beings, it's like we think we have to do everything alone. It's like we're in this caveman survival mode of, have to do, start fire, do this, fix this, do this. And I'm very guilty at that. I'm a man and I'm guilty at that. I'll tell you that. But the question to ask you is, what mode are you in? Are you in the mode of survival? Are you in the mode, like Barb said, no, I create my own income. I create my own economy. I love that statement, because you can.
We always have.
And
in
it
the
doesn't
worst
matter.
of circumstances.
Yeah, well, we could go through 20 situations to where I wrote a hot check for baby formula and got arrested the night of my 1-year-old daughter's birthday. And that week, my mentor was flying into my hometown to do a meeting. There's times and things that should have stopped us, but we weren't in that survival mode. We were in that energy wake, and we were in that energy wake because of our mentor, because of our upline, because of leaders, because of friends, because of people who set goals like us, that taught us to set goals and stay on that plane. If you're in a plane of survival, how many of you have had an idea, and it's an amazing idea, but it lasts that long? And then like 3 weeks later, you see the idea on Facebook and you're like, that was my idea. Well, you could have been, and it would have been, but you weren't in the mode of being in that flow. And you got to get in that flow, because when you're in the flow, it doesn't matter. And it's a hump you got to get over. But once you're in it, my younger brother, I'm driving down interstate and find out my younger brother commits suicide and takes his own life. And that was at a time when our business, we were one of the top 4 or 5 people in our business and our craft.
Didn't matter.
Took me a few months, took me some time to get through that. But without that energy wake surrounding me, literally constantly pulling me back in to do the right thing, because I wanted to do the wrong thing. I didn't want to do the right thing. There's times I didn't want to be alive. I didn't want to be nice. I didn't want to be positive. I didn't want to be around people. I didn't want none of it. But because of the people I was around, and this woman, one of them, and my 3 children that I'm a dad of, that I need to be a good father, there's this energy wake, this murmuration that I constantly was being pulled back into doing the right things. And I think that's a habit. You got to set that up as a habit.
Well, let me ask you a question, Dave. Had we not been in the industry and the profession we're in, let's say we had not found the mentor. Let's say you were still the foreman on the construction crew, riding bulls, going to work every day, where would you have turned? And I'm not saying you have to be in my profession or industry, but I'm
You need a
so
mentor.
grateful
You need a mentor.
for the mentor.
Yeah.
Because without the books we had read, the people we had been around, the events we had attended with speakers, the audio cassettes that we were on a subscription for back then.
There was no Spotify. There was no Shopify.
We paid $79 a month.
And you got 2 or
in
3 tapes, and you know what you
96.
did? You wore them out till the tape broke.
I would love to see how many of you right now that now
We
this
should have brought our tote of cassette tapes.
in the company we were in, if you did not pay $79 a month, drop in the comments how many of you would have quit. Your products were one thing you had to be on, but $79 a month auto ship for audio cassettes.
Audio cassettes. This right
This is
here.
gold.
was-
I would not take
no,
10 grand for
No,
this.
this was my murmuration. This right here, Barb. This
Oh
is
my gosh,
what,
it was called the Master Developer Series.
This-
$79 a month. If you didn't get your tapes, you didn't get your check. Carla Berry's on here.
Here's a good
She
one.
was on there.
Here's a good one.
Action Cures
Action
Fear.
Cures Fear.
Oh,
Barb
who's
Pitcock.
that author? I love my
I'm
voice
just
on there. I
saying,
sound like a little
this
girl.
is about Dave Pitcock showing the plan, 22 minutes. Do you know how old this stuff is? But
So
all of these things, the best kept secret in the world. This was the energy trap. You're in a trap right now. And
It's
you're
called CNN.
you're choosing what trap to be in.
Yep.
And you have to find that energy wake. You have to plug into some good things. And man, nowadays, you don't need the bucket of cassette tapes. All you need is to listen to something good every day. Pop open a good book every day. Pop on, find a good YouTube and put, I feel like shit today, help me. And YouTube will pop up and YouTube will light you up. Your little sister sent you a deal the other day and said, you got to listen to this every day. It was 2 minutes long.
No.
But after you listen to it, I'm in the energy wake. I'm following that lead bird. And even if I get out of the wake a little bit, which we all do, we all get smacked in the face with stuff that happens in life.
And here's
every day.
the
But
thing.
how do you get sucked back in?
Well, and social media is a trap because
Oh,
how many of you drop in the comments, just put a heart.
you just sit and scroll.
If you were scrolling this week and you saw something that literally triggered you to just go for somebody's jugular,
Yeah.
like how can you not?
And you put yourself
And the
in that
enemy
situation.
wants to divide us.
Mm.
Here's the reality.
Mm.
I can see both sides to every argument. And I personally hate debates because nobody wins an argument. Someone's feelings are always going to get hurt. And at the end of the day, does it really freaking matter? How much does your brother and sister arguing over something? I'll give you a great example. I used to get in screaming matches with Dave's brother
Oh boy.
about legalizing marijuana. Literally, I would go ballistic.
This is 25 years ago.
25 years ago. And here's why. Because I grew up in a house where everyone on my dad's side of the family, at every Christmas, at every event, drugs and alcohol caused my dad to lose his only brother to suicide. Same thing happened with Dave. Cops would come to the door. People would go to prison. Addiction ran deep in the family. And I associated that with absolute pain. So my belief was drugs are bad. People that do drugs are bad. If they ever legalize it, we're all going to die, go to prison, and have pain. And still to this day,
You still think
I've
that.
never smoked
nothing,
weed.
Nothing has changed.
But everyone that I know has, and they all believe that I'm a prude. And I will go to my grave with the same belief. Let me tell you guys something. A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. And if I said to Dave, let's teach this pig how to sing, we're never going to teach a pig to sing. Do you know what it does? You know what it does? It drives you crazy. It annoys the pig. Just let the pig be a pig, right? You cannot change everyone to be you. And the problem is We have disappointments in our life because we expect us in other people. And you are where you are 100% based on the people that you're around, your environment, the beliefs that you grew up with that are ingrained in your head. And when Dave and I were 1996, 23-year-old kids, we had a mentor that said, you can break the chain. You don't have to go down the same road. You can be the difference maker. All you have to do is put good stuff in every single day. Do the right things long enough, consistently, and you can have and be and do anything that you ever dream of.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me tell you guys, your purpose that you have in your life is going to come from your pain. And the longer you keep brushing it underneath of the rug, the longer you are avoiding your greatness. The further you get away from what God could really do with you and your gifts and your talents and your story. So Dave and I are in a position where in the next few weeks, we're completely reintroducing ourselves. You know, I wrote a book and the book ends in 2001. We're on stage. Things are great. We're with a Super Bowl icon. And guess what happened the next year?
That was recorded that day.
We lost it all. We lost it all. Nobody's read that chapter yet. Guess what? We lost it again twice.
Company went away.
We need a new book. And let me tell you what's different about now. I'm older.
That's fun.
I'm wiser. And I absolutely don't care if you like me or not. I'm going to speak truth. I'm going to stand up for what I believe. And Dave just pulled out this tape. You can go 4-star. This tape was recorded.
That was that weekend.
In Miami. We had our family there on a cruise. It was the first time Dave had ever talked to people since his little brother took his life. Let me tell you, he hated God. He hated people. He hated network marketing. He hated money. Some days I think he hated me because you can't love people and you can't serve and help. You cannot attract greatness into your life until you forgive and let go of all the things you're blaming, shaming, and guilting yourself into. So rip the Band-Aid off, right? We went bankrupt. Who gives a shit? So did Donald Trump. So did Disney. So did Kentucky Fried Chicken 6 or 7 times. And guess what? We would not be teaching people about, I still don't pass a good sale. And I just got a credit card for the very first time because I have to have one for our corporate expenses. Like going bankrupt was the best thing that ever happened to me because I spent the next 29 years teaching people how to get free, teaching people how to live below their means, teaching people how to tithe, teaching people how to survive when you lose your income and your mortgage is $4,000 and you have $0. You want the hack? Drop in the comments. I need the hack. I can help you skip a mortgage payment. I can help you skip a car payment. I can literally teach you how to survive with no income for 90 days and not lose everything. But I couldn't have done it had I not been through it. And the chapter that Dave and I are going through right now is so bittersweet. But I'm telling you guys, the ups and the downs give you so much momentum. You're going to fail and fail and fail to survive. And eventually, you're going to start winning. But people fail. And if Dave had not had the mentor we had in 2001, I could have easily seen you becoming an addict. I could have easily seen you taking your own life.
Oh, the state. Yeah, the state that I was in. And just the fact I say the state I was in, I can't believe I pulled these tapes out. But there was a set of tapes by Anthony Robbins called Unlimited Power. You know what he talks about most of the time? Your state. What state are you in? You are either, Dennis Waitley. These are tapes. The new dynamics of winning. You know what he talks about in here? Olympic athletes that can't cope with the world anymore because they're so much better than everybody else. They don't know how to not be a winner, and they have to figure out how to be normal again. Getting Rich in America, Brian Tracy, one of the greatest. Think and Grow Rich cassette tapes.
It doesn't say work your butt off and grow rich. You see that? It says think and grow rich. That's a whole training in itself.
1981, back when telephones hung on the wall. and you had to pick them up and they had a cord.
Oh God, what's this one?
Air Supply.
Oh, that's when we fell in love.
I would call her at
7th
11 years
grade.
old, and I would call her on the phone with this playing.
Lost
She says
in
I would sing
love
to her. I don't
no,
remember that part.
No, it was just the music. And his dad would say, that damn Zorn girl, she calls enough to kill a horse. And I remember thinking, why does calling on the phone kill a horse? I guess too much of one thing.
You all, you
Now
know,
he's my father-in-law.
you have to realize as a human being what a special person you are. And I don't think people get that. I mean, you've heard the stories of how amazing you are and what it took to get to where you are today. Michael Singer is he's a wonderful author, and I love listening to his surrender experiment and his surrender stuff. But over and over again, the concept of scientifically and even religiously, it has taken 13.8 billion years for us to get to this point where we're using a laptop and talking on a screen. 20 years ago, you wouldn't have done that. 200 years ago, it wasn't thought of. 1,000 years ago, not even remotely. 4 million years ago, where was everything before everything came to be? It's taken 13.8 billion years to get to where we're speaking to one another right now. So every single moment is a ridiculously magical moment if you look at it that way. The problem is we don't look at it that way. Every moment is a tragedy. It's a negative. It's oh, look at this. And what you got to realize, one of the best trainings that I ever learned was, and I'm a picture guy. It was talking about a guided missile. That your life is like a guided missile, and a guided missile. If this was the missile, you dial in I want the guided missile to go to this, and you dial it in, and the guided missile finds its way to whatever you dial it into. Your life is that way. And as a human being, you have the right. You have not only the right, it is literally your destiny to choose where your guided missile goes. And most people never choose. You look at a submarine and you watch those old war movies, and on the submarine, there's a screen. It's the radar. It's the dark green radar that's got the green blips on it. And the blips that come up on the radar are other submarines and warships out there. But what you don't see is what's outside of the radar. And most of our lives, that you have the ability to put things in your radar that you want. And not just things. I'm talking feelings. I'm talking going to bed every night and feeling good, waking up in the morning and feeling good, having energy, health-wise, everything, mental-wise. You, as a human being, you have that right. It's your right to be, do, and have absolutely anything you want. And I think that's what our mentor beat into us, is you have that ability. But it only starts when you define it. It's there, but you have to define it. Like, I can tell you a good book to read that'll change your life, but you got to read the book. And that's the challenge. Most people won't. You have the ability to pull into your life, into your radar, dial in your guided missile to whatever you want. It's just most people don't. The law of attraction. When the law of attraction first came out, everybody's like, oh my God, the law of attraction. This is amazing.
We've been doing that our whole life.
But here's what happened. 7, 8, 9 months later, after the law of attraction came out, guess what happened? This book is full of it. It doesn't work. Law of attraction's a scam, blah, blah, blah. And the people saying that, they didn't dial in their guided missile. They just thought it would happen spontaneously. It doesn't happen spontaneously. There's laws of the universe. The gravity, if you go to the top of a building and jump, you're going down. There's laws to the universe, laws. And one of those laws as a human being is you have the right to be, do, and have what you want. You have the right mentally. I highly encourage you to find a paperback copy of Think and Grow Rich. Go on Amazon today if you don't have it.
Napoleon Hill.
It's $4.95. It will change your life. You should digest it. You should literally put ketchup on the pages after you read them and eat them. You need that book. Changed my life. The definiteness of purpose, putting a screen up, pretending like you're in a movie theater, playing your life out. Do you do that every day? Or do you sit here and go, oh yeah, I need that. Oh my God. Oh, she did what? Oh, your mind isn't, you're not allowing yourself you're not allowing yourself
To focus.
You're in survival mode. You're not allowing yourself to be in the flow and the wake like the birds are. You can move in a massively successful, attractive, it's coming at me, the energy is amazing, God, I feel so good. Or you can be in the same flow of life sucks, I have no money, it's survival mode. And here's the deal, you said it, it's your choice. It sucks to hear that, but it takes effort. It takes effort to pick up the cassette tape. It takes effort to pick up the book and read 2 or 3 pages every day.
Yeah, and
you know what it takes effort to do?
Even
Not
watch
go
the
on
podcast.
Facebook and scroll. Instead, go to somewhere and listen to something good for 5 minutes.
Mhm.
It's hard to do that. But if you do, I'm telling you, if you do, your whole world, a world opens up that you've never seen before.
It's simple
and you feel
disciplines.
better. You'll feel better every day of your life. And yes, survival mode sucks, Lori
Well,
Benjamin.
Lori could tell you. Lori's been through
does.
it. And
Been
you
there,
know,
done that.
and
yes.
here's the secret, guys. Compartmentalizing that it is going to be hard. Life is going to be hard. Today's probably going to be one of the hardest days of my life.
Most religious leaders, you know what they say? Life is hard. Most of life is suffering. You read every different religious leader and book, including Jesus himself. Life is suffering. It's hard. That's why you need him. That's why you need to meditate. It's why you need to search a higher
pray.
power and pray and meditate, because life is hard. Look around you. You know, ask 99 people or 100 people how they feel today. 99 are you're going to wish you didn't ask.
Yep.
Very rarely do you find the 1 or 2% that's like, it's amazing. And here's why it's amazing. And you need to become that person. That is the, but you
No
don't
matter
get
how
it unless
bad it
you're
is.
reading and listening and being around. That's why a great mentor is so important. Without our mentor, I don't know where I'd be. Honestly.
Well, and Dave and I pull each other out. We both
All
have
the
bad
time.
days.
all the time.
Yeah. It's just good that we don't both have bad days on the same day. And some days we do, and then we don't know what to do, right?
Separate.
And
Get
our
away.
children will pull us out. You know, right now our business is at an all-time high of 30 years of success, but our hearts are broken more than they've ever been. And I think it's peaks and valleys. And, you know, what we have been through in the last 2 weeks is way harder than the 2001, way harder than any death, any bankruptcy, it's just peaks and valleys. And right now, my mentor, if I call Terry LaCour or Jennifer Grace or any of the people that I plug into, it's compartmentalizing, right? It's knowing that you might not be okay today, but you're going to be okay. And what you have to do is do the absolute best that you can do. Don't take things personally. Always do your best. Don't make any assumptions. Project the movie how you want it to play out. And sometimes it's not easy to project the movie how you want it to play out because you get your feelings hurt. You think your way is the only way and it's the right way. And I saw a great quote this week and I actually posted it. It said, quit not listening to God until he gives you the answer that you want. You have to take his answer and you have to continue to pray for what you want and act as if it already is, stepping into that belief on complete faith and let the universe do its thing. Because what you want wants you. But what you think about is always a worst case scenario, the fear, the anxiety. It's easy to go down a rabbit hole. And Dave and I were reading this morning and it said, I'm a big believer that everything you need is already in and around you right now, if you can just put in the work to see it. And what you have to do is optimize your matrix, right? We call it the vortex. You're either in the vortex or you're not in the vortex. And we try to stay in the vortex even when life itself is happening around us, trying to pull us out of the vortex. Because once you get out, it's so hard to get back in. But you have to shift your mindset. And Dave has a 21-day mindset challenge that will literally light you up. If you want the link to it, drop in the comment mindset challenge and I will send it to you. It is literally every day for 21 days, just getting in your head and changing it. But it takes what you're thinking and what you're going through and shifts it to a positive framework, reframing it to see the good, find the good, learn the lesson, and the most important thing, move forward. Because it's really hard to move forward when you have this ball and chain on your leg that you just can't shake. Whether it's finances, divorce, children, child support, credit card debt, you got fired, student loans, college, like I have friends right now battling cancer, fighting for their life. I have someone I love in jail calling me. And do you know what? When I say, oh, it's so hot outside, I don't know if we're going to go anywhere for the 4th of July. Do you know what these people say? You should go. I wish I could go. You should take the trip. You should go be with the people. You should go to Arizona where it's 125 and sit out in the heat. You should go see Cali. You should go to the lake. You should go do all the things. Yesterday, I had one of them tell me, you need to read this book I'm reading. It's called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. And I'm like, okay, maybe I should read that. Because the problem is, guys, we always sweat the small stuff. We all do.
Here's the secret. It's all small stuff.
It's all
I don't care what
stuff.
happens to you 5 years from now, you're going to think about it and you'll find the good, because that's human beings. Human beings' nature, your nature is to find the good in things. Sometimes it takes a while, but if you knew that and you found the good now, it's light speed. It advances your life to where, oh, I'm staying in the wake. I'm staying in the wake. Oh, shit happened. Oh, but I found the good. I'm staying in the wake. I'm staying in the wake. Worse shit happened. Oh, I'm staying. If you can find the good, and how do you find the good? Back to Think and Grow Rich. Your definiteness of purpose. Having goals and dreams so big that you can't give up on yourself. When my brother passed away, I had a family I couldn't give up on. I think that's what actually saved me. But I needed the tools. I needed the tools to stay there. And the tools was cassette tapes. The tools was listening to good stuff. The tools were getting around people who spoke good things. They say you're going to become the average of your 5 best friends. And I needed
some of you need some new friends.
I needed some new friends at times. I did. We all do. But you have to realize you have this radar that you're living in. Your whole life is this radar. All the things you've experienced, the thoughts you felt, the tangible things you've had, they came into you. They weren't in your radar, and then they were. You might not know what you're having for supper tonight. That means it's outside of your radar. But you know what? All of a sudden you're going, you know what should we do tonight? Oh, hey, let's barbecue something. Guess what? Oh, beep.
There it is.
All of a sudden it's in your radar. You know you're going to eat, and you know what you're having for dinner. That is no different than goals and dreams you have. People say, oh, no, that's harder stuff. No, it's not.
It's not.
It's because it's a habit. It's a habit that you know you're going to eat every day. Eating every day is a goal. Yes, your body tells you I'm hungry and I need to eat. But what are you going to eat? How are you going to eat? Those are all habits. Your goals and dreams you have are the exact same thing. The big things you want are no different than the little things. Mm-hmm. Making $10,000 that you need or making $700,000 that you need. It's the exact same effort. It's more zeros, but it's the same effort. It's the exact same thing. It doesn't matter if you're eating dinner or I'm going to go do this or I'm going to get in the car. Barb said earlier, you know what we should do? We should drive to our retail stores. We should do this and do this today. That wasn't on my radar yesterday. Now it's on my radar. And so you have to pull things into your radar that make you feel good. And if you feel good all the time and that becomes your habit, my habit is feeling good. Guess what happens when you don't feel good? That's not the habit. You kick it out and you're back in that murmuration. You feel the wake of the energy. You're around the right people. You're listening to the right stuff. And I'm just telling you, if you don't do that, you'll suffer. You're going to suffer your whole life. You'll piss and moan and bitch and complain your whole life because you're not in the habit of who you're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. You are a human being. You're a human right. You're a human being. Your right is to be number one. Feel good all the time. Yes, you're supposed to experience the good, the bad, the ugly. There's dark, there's light, there's the tide comes in, the tide goes out. There's up, there's down. We know that, but you're a human being and you get to choose. You have that right. And I know most people don't do that. Most people know that I have to go with the flow of the world and everything's bad. And the debate happened the other night and I have no choice. And no, you do have a choice. You make your own economy. You make your own life. You make what you want.
You do.
And you have to get into that mindset too, that I'm winning. I'm going to win at life. I'm going to beat the crap out of life. I'm winning. I'm number one. I'm a human being. I deserve that. And you have to get into that mindset. So not just when the bad stuff happens, who cares about that? Everybody could try to be positive when the bad stuff happens. It's being positive every day, every hour, every minute, staying in that energy flow all the time. And when you do, you get everything you want.
And that's like the only thing Dave and I want to do now. I mean, it's not about the money anymore. It's not about stuff. Like, you get to a point
you just want to feel good.
and you want to help other people understand the
Yeah,
secret.
you want to grab them.
I would literally love to help 1,000 people get to the level that Dave and I have accomplished in our life. And it's not money, guys. It's the freedom to wake up and do whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want, with whoever you want, and to not have to worry about anything. And you know what's crazy, guys? It doesn't take as much money as you think. It's
true.
your mindset. And your mindset is going to change everything. So let me give you an example. I have people that say, nobody's buying houses. The interest rates are too high. This is the worst economy. It's the worse than the Deep Depression. Everyone's losing everything. And when I leave that environment and go to a different environment, my realtor at the lake says, I've never sold so many houses. This one came up today for 1.6 million.
So
if you guys want to see it, you should. 4 people are offering by noon.
Yep.
What's the difference?
Yep.
It's the mentality, right? And in a down economy, take notes, more millionaires are created that take action in a down economy because they're taking action. They're taking a risk. They're finding solutions. They're creating ways for people to solve the problem when everyone else is in scarcity mode.
Let you corner the market.
I'm telling you guys,
else is thinking that
let's
way.
talk about this. We got in the industry in 96, election year, Bob Dole running for president, worst economy ever, everything plummeting. It was $1,000 to get started, and we made more money in 90 days than we had ever made in our life, because even though nobody had any money, we had a solution. Let's fast forward. We launched something in 2006. If you remember when the real estate crash happened, the Enron thing.
Yep.
I mean, we had friends that lost their entire life savings.
It's always something. Every 2 or
Oil
3
went
years,
in the
it's always
toilet. Everyone in our town was losing their house. And we had a company that did $1 million in sales in 90 days. Okay. 2 times we proved it doesn't have anything to do with the economy. Then the next time we decided to launch something big, that day, COVID happened.
Literally that day.
That day, 3/16,
That week.
2020.
You couldn't pick it.
Couldn't have planned it on a worse day, but I liked the number 3/16.
And it turned out
And
to be
it turned out to be
one of the best things we've ever
one
done.
of the best things we ever did. Now, that's not what we're doing today, because as you grow, you outgrow fish bowls, right? Like, you could have, what are those little fish we used to buy our kids, and they'd be in like the size of an 8-ounce bottle.
The little goldfish. They were
Smaller.
beta goldfish.
Kelly
Little
Chance in
betas.
Brooklyn, they all had betas, right?
Yes.
And then one day you decide, like, let's get a bigger bowl. Like, we could get goldfish. And then one day you decide, like, maybe we should get an aquarium with some bigger fish. Like, don't be a beta. Don't stay little. Don't stay in this little tiny container, because if that goldfish could see out of that little bowl, there's a pond and there's a river and there's oceans, and all of your failures, even 2020 exploded. And then we saw a lot of adversity. And you know what we had to do? We had to pivot. Most companies in our industry right now are seeing a 70% decline. And there's people that are like, I'm not changing. I'm not changing. I'm going to keep doing this. And there's other people that are like, let's pivot. There's some people that are like, I've done weight loss my whole life. I'm doing weight loss. We go to our mentor, and our mentor says, well, you can do things that help people be healthy. But what I see over everything, because of the pharmaceutical companies, anybody selling weight loss is on a 70% decline.
It's about mental health.
It's about mental health.
It's about helping people feel good.
Here's the reality, guys.
Yeah,
I've lost weight. I've felt better. I've looked better, other than my 90 stitches and big steel
Chipmunks are
things.
cute. Drop in the comments a cuter little animal than a chipmunk.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
you,
I can't even believe I went live, but I don't
Chipmunks
make
are-
excuses. I
chipmunks
do
are
not
cute.
make excuses. Like this hurts like hell, but it's a message you'll need to hear. And we're starting an email list this next Wednesday. And my producer said, whatever you do on Saturday morning, we're sending out free. So whatever message you would want to send to 150,000 people, that should be the message. And guys, I think the strongest message that Dave and I have is whether it was COVID, whether it was an election year, whether it was a Democrat, whether it was a Republican, whether we were in a grieving phase, whether our kids were little, whether we were bankrupt, whether we had an empty nest, whether we had a child in trouble, whether we had a mother-in-law dying of cancer, we did not make excuses. And here's why. You can't wait for the circumstances to be right. There's always going to be something.
Yeah, you make your.
I hate to
circumstances.
tell you that.
You make.
There's
your
always going to
circumstances.
be something happening.
I wish I could share my thought process over the last 19 days and where I'm sitting today, because if I did,
brutal.
if I could do that, there are no. That you have to. You have to make things happen yourself.
Mhm.
And if you're in a feeling phase or a spot where you don't think you could, 95% of the people turn to a drug or an alcohol or an addiction or scrolling on my phone or gaming or something like that instead of you. You need to work on you. You need to be addicted to you. You need to get addicted to the habit of staying in the energy flow. You need to get addicted to feeling good. You need to make people mad. You're so positive. Like you need, it's not about being positive.
Oh, just let them know
It's
you're
about-
setting boundaries.
It's
There's
just
no more
about
negative.
it's about being, I just feel good. And if this happens, then I feel good. I know a few weeks ago when some things happened with my family, I had family members call me and go, oh, Dave.
So bad.
Oh, I feel so bad for you. And I'm like, bro,
It's going to be fine.
no, you are feeling their energy flow they're in just talking to me. I don't want in that energy flow. Get me out of that wake. Put me back in the other wake. You need to be like the murmurating birds, those 5,000 starlings that can spin on a dime because they're in the right energy flow. If you stay in that energy flow, it doesn't matter what happens. Yeah, you might fall out of the wake. You might fall down. Stuff hits you. It knocks you out a little bit. Doesn't really matter because you get back in it.
Well, and it makes
Most
you
people,
stronger.
it happens, they can't get back in it. And that's the problem. It's not that they're bad people. They just can't get back into that energy
No, but
flow.
yesterday I was on the phone with our branding company, and he goes, Barb, I cannot believe your message. I cannot believe your purpose. The entire world is following this because it's so strong. And he's like, most people want to brush it under the rug.
Yeah.
Most people don't want to talk about it. I'm just telling you guys, if I would have posted how I felt the other night when you were all watching the debate, people would have lost their minds and thought somebody stole my phone. Some things just don't need to be posted. Some things you just don't need to go say. Process what you're feeling and find the good. And here's the reality. If you don't like the way things are, be the difference maker. If you don't like the reality of the circumstances around you, you be the one that makes impact. You be the one that makes change. You be the whistleblower. You be the solution finder. There's two kinds of leaders. There's whiners and complainers that think they're leaders. They're just earners. They never stick and win. And there's other people that find solutions. They never talk about a problem. They find the solution. They call you with what they're going to do to help and take care of it. And they're winners. You know, my oldest daughter, even in the worst of times, do you know what she says? How's dad? How's dad? Can you send this to so-and-so? Can you make sure so-and-so is okay? Because this heart of a champion knows that situations are temporary. But no matter what you go through and no matter what you lose, let me tell you guys something. Nobody can take your spirit. nobody can take your soul. Nobody can take your experience. No one can steal your strength. Nothing can stop the wisdom that you get. You just have to make the choice that you're going to come up. And Dave and I believe that. Every single one of you can come up. 1996, 2 bankrupt kids, a beautician, a bull rider, 2 single moms. Dave's dad was an alcoholic. My dad was addicted to women. I mean, we both were a train wreck. We used to literally have so much hate, so much anger, so much resentment. We blamed everybody. We blamed the women that were with our dads. We blamed drugs. We blamed alcohol. We blamed everything. We blamed the economy.
And somebody turned us on to listening to better information, getting into a different flow, and we've just never got out of that.
You know what? I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for what we learned from our dads. I'm so grateful for what we learned from our moms. I'm so grateful Dave got arrested for a hot check. I'm so grateful for the lessons and the wisdom that we gained through losing a loved one, whether it was cancer or suicide, addiction, whatever it was. Dave and I are the people we are with hearts bigger than Texas because the compassion came from the pain, and so did the purpose. And we're going to spend the rest of our lives making so much freaking impact. People are going to be deleting us to the point they want to puke because it's going to be positive Pitcocks, positive Pitcocks, positive Pitcocks, positive Pitcocks. People are going to be like, ah! You know what? Some of y'all couldn't find the positive end of a battery, and you look like you've been weaned on a dill pickle. And it's because of what's going in here. And let me just end with this. What goes in here runs every single bit of what's happening in here. Every organ in your body is affected every single day by your thoughts. So don't forgive them because they deserve it. Forgive them so you don't get sick. Don't let it go because it doesn't matter. Yes, it matters. But is it really worth spending one more day worrying? Or should you just start living? And when Dave and I drew a line in the sand, we were like, suffer no more. Suffer no more. We're about to become exactly like these people we're hanging around. And you know what our relatives told us? You're brainwashed. You guys are in a cult.
Yeah.
It was the best brainwashing you ever got.
Cult. It was the best one I've ever.
Oh, it was the best brainwashing we've ever had. You know what? They brainwashed us to that we could be more, do more, and have more. And we did.
Yep. And you can too.
And that's what we want for you.
You can too. And I think Barb and I are at a point in our life where one of our biggest things is just to share. And so to pull people into that energy wake that's really good, and then help you stay there.
You deserve it.
That's the goal.
And you have everything you need to make it happen. If you need some resources, drop in the comments. I need some resources. We can give you the book list. We can give you our daily method of operation. If you're struggling financially, you don't even know how you're going to survive, we can tell you how we did that. If you're grieving, Dave could do a whole course on grieving.
Thank you, Callie. That's
Callie?
my new Lulu shirt. I'm glad somebody commented on it.
Your daughter, your fashion coordinator. Anyway, you guys, we got to jump off here and get on our company training, which is going to be fire. But we just hope all of you know it is about freedom, and you're making your own economy. Do not wait for the government to change it for you. Look at your circumstances, draw a line in the sand, and say, suffer no more, and let's connect so you can be and do and have everything that you ever dreamed of.
See you guys later.
Wait 1 second. If you guys would, hit the follow button so you get notified when we go live. And if you really want to give us some love, smash the heart button, tag a friend, and share this message.
Yes.
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Happy 4th.